रेडी? आपको पता है ना एसएससी किस चीज़ की मिस्टेक काउंट करता है? फुल स्टॉप की। और फुल स्टॉप के बाद आने वाला जो लेटर होता है वो कैपिटल होता है। अगर आपने उसको स्मॉल किया तो आपकी गलती काउंट की जाएगी। अगर आपने फुल स्टॉप गलत जगह लगाया डेफिनेटली आपसे नेक्स्ट वाले लेटर को आप क्या करेंगे? गलत करेंगे। तो जो गैप होता है, जो पिच होती है, दो चीज़ें होती है, गैप होता है, एक साथ में पिच होती है। जब हम कोई चीज़ को डिक्टेट कर रहे होते हैं तो एकदम से पिच खत्म होने के बाद दोबारा दोबारा नेक्स्ट एनर्जी से स्टार्ट होता है सेंटेंस। आपको पिच पकड़ने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए, कई बार गैप नहीं पकड़ा जाता। पिच काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक्यूरेसी देती है, ठीक है। हालांकि जो इंटरवल्स है, जो कहते हैं कि इंटरवल कितना होता है, जब गर्दन उठने लगे तो कहते हैं फुल स्टॉप, और जब पेन रुक जाए तो कोमा होता है। लेकिन इस चीज़ को हर एक डिक्टेटर उस लेवल पर डिक्टेट नहीं करता है। तो आपको जो कोमाज है, जहाँ एसेंशियल है वहाँ लगाओ, क्योंकि एसएससी कोमा वगैरह की मिस्टेक काउंट नहीं करता, ठीक है। और स्मॉल कैपिटल का ध्यान रखना होता है। स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स अगर आपने एक वर्ड की बार बार करी तो वो हर बार गलत ही काउंट किया जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं उसको एक काउंट किया जाएगा। अगर कोई स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स आपने की और वो वर्ड 4 से 5 बार रिपीट हुआ है तो 4 से 5 बार के में ही क्या किया जाएगा? गलत माना जाएगा, ठीक है। आप कोई वर्ड ओमिट कर देते हो तो वो भी मिस्टेक्स में काउंट किया जाता है। आप कोई वर्ड एडिशन में लिख देते हो, एड ऑन कर देते हो, तो वो भी मिस्टेक्स काउंट किया जाता है, ठीक है। एडिशन, ओमिशन, सब्सटीट्यूशन, ठीक है, ये सब के सब क्या होते हैं? मिस्टेक्स होती है, फुल मिस्टेक्स होती है। हालांकि स्मॉल कैपिटल की मिस्टेक्स को हाफ काउंट किया जाता है, फुल स्टॉप की मिस्टेक को हाफ काउंट किया जाता है, ठीक है। लिखेंगे, पहले 100 भी लिखेंगे, फिर 80 भी लिखेंगे। स्टार्ट इट। Sir, the private members bill moved by honorable member points out that there are a number of limitations in the functioning of the regional rural banks. It is his view that by amending the existing law, we can improve the working of the regional rural banks. The point is well taken that we need to improve the working of the regional rural banks. But let us look at why these regional rural banks were first set up. The objective of a regional rural bank is to focus on the development of agriculture, trade, commerce, and other productive activities, particularly for the small and marginal farmers, agricultural laborers, artisans, and small entrepreneurs in the rural areas. Therefore, an RRB would be able to carry banking to these neglected sections of the people only if its focus is limited to an area, and its focus should not be completely diffused, and it begins to function like a universal bank. Today, RRBs are being sponsored largely by the public sector banks, and some RRBs are sponsored by private sector banks. If we accept the suggestion made by honorable member that for an RRB established in a group of union territories or union territory, the government will be the central government, and in a state government it will be the state government concerned, and if it is in a group of states, it will be the group of state government concerned. Then I think it will create complete confusion over the control over these banks. Today, the line of control is clear. Either the nationalized banks sponsor the RRB, or it is a private bank that sponsors the RRB and the license is given by the Reserve Bank of India. If we alter the system of control, then I am afraid the whole system would have to be built from scratch, and it is not possible to build it from scratch anymore because the rural banks today have taken deep roots. On the other hand, if NABARD is to take over these RRBs, then there will be a conflict of interest between NABARD, as it is a supervisory and regulatory agency, and at the owner of the banks. In fact, one reason why the ownership of bank vests in the central government and regulation vests in the Reserve Bank is that the regulatory functions and the ownership functions must be separate. NABARD is the supervisory cum regulatory body for all agriculture credit related banks, and I do not think that the regulator and the supervisor should also become the owner of the banks. Sir, the RRBs today have improved their functioning. RRBs today are one of the most important arms of our agricultural credit operations, along with public sector banks and cooperative banks. RRBs lend to farmers, and in the last few years, RRBs have done very well as far as agriculture credit is concerned. In fact, they have done much better than we expected. Now, if we look at the credit growth rate of RRBs, it has significantly increased over the 5 years. During the last 5 years, the compounded average growth rate is over 20%. A major portion of RRBs deposits were mobilized from villagers. Sponsor banks have invested money in RRBs. NABARD has given both short-term and long-term credit. In fact, I am very happy with the performance of RRBs, especially in the last year. The agriculture sector has received agricultural loans from RRBs in a very large proportion. Therefore, I think the present system has stabilized and is working well. Let us look at some other performance indicators of RRBs. The number of Kisan credit cards issued by RRBs is about 15 lakhs. The number of farmers clubs promoted by RRBs is about 6,000. What we have done in the last year, we have made the sponsor banks squarely responsible for the functioning of RRBs. So, accountability has been fixed. We have asked every sponsor bank to nominate a senior officer at the level of general manager to supervise the functioning of RRBs. Therefore, there is a clear line of authority. It flows from RRB chairman to the general manager of the sponsor bank and to the board and the chairman and managing director of the sponsor bank. The sponsor bank today takes the responsibility of training officers in RRBs. In fact, the pay scales are now equal. Senior officers are deputed from sponsor bank to the RRBs. RRBs are also becoming as good in terms of knowledge and competence as the sponsor bank, except that they are functioning it at a much decentralized level and they cater to very different customers than the customers of sponsor banks. Sir, perhaps there was a reason when honorable member introduced this bill, but that reason is no longer valid. After seeing the working of RRBs, I think we must warmly compliment the functioning of RRBs and allow them to continue to do the good work in the coming years. If we encounter any practical difficulties, we will certainly address those practical difficulties. However, I respectfully submit that this is not the time to bring about any radical change either in the law or in the manner in which RRBs are structured or are working. There is also, I respectfully submit, no case for a national rural bank that has not been recommended by many committees, including the latest committee. That will only mean that we create a monolith and we dilute the focus of RRBs, which is local bank for a local area focusing on the needs of the local population. We are now encouraging a sponsor bank to horizontally integrate all RRBs sponsored by it and functioning in one state. That is the first step towards consolidation within the state. I think all state governments, leaving maybe one or two, have agreed to this idea. So, if a sponsor bank has more than one RRB in one state, those RRBs are being consolidated and brought under one name and one umbrella. I think that effort must be allowed to succeed. I think most of it will happen in the current year. I am confident that by the end of the year, I will be able to report that RRBs have done better and have improved upon their performance from last year. Therefore, I would most respectfully request honorable members to withdraw his bill. ये 1061 वर्डों के साथ डिक्टेट किया गया है, 100 की स्पीड है, फ्लक्चुएशन ना के बराबर है और ये आपको 2017 की जो डिक्टेशन का आपको सेट दिया गया है उसमें से बोला गया है, आपके पास हार्ड कॉपी अवेलेबल है, ग्रुप में भी डाली हुई है। एक्सरसाइज नंबर 2 80 पे लिखेंगे आप। Started. My government has announced a quantum jump in the pace of developing national highways to reach kilometers a day. Several policy initiatives have been taken to create an enabling environment. There is a fresh momentum in Air India. The expansion and modernization of airports, especially the 4 metro airports, are progressing well. The Delhi airport project would be fully operational by July 2010, well in time for the Commonwealth Games. The airport's Economics Regulatory Authority has been established to discharge regulatory functions in the airport sector. My government has been implementing the National Maritime Development Program, which envisages an investment of over rupees 1 lakh crore, including private investment on identified projects in the port and shipping sectors. The Indian Maritime University has now become fully functional with campuses in Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, Visakhapatnam. My government is committed to increasing the capacity and modernization of railway technology and to increasing the speed of both passenger and freight trains while improving safely. Our relations with the major powers have been renewed to a great extent, aiming at partnership at the bilateral, regional, and global level. My visit to Russia and the visit by the Prime Minister have renewed our time-tested friendship and opened new areas of cooperation. The visit of the Prime Minister of Japan underlined our mutual desire to accelerate our cooperation in all areas. The Prime Minister attended the first eve stand-alone summit of the BRICS countries. My government pursued its Look East policy with vigor. The President of the Republic of Korea was our honored chief guest at the Republic Day celebrations. Government hosted the Prime Minister of Mongolia and the Prime Ministers of Australia and Malaysia. The singing of the India-Asian Free Trade Agreement and the launching of several new initiatives within the India-ASEAN framework and the East Asia Summit process will further integrate India into the Asia-Pacific region. The Prime Minister's presence for the first time at the summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization was a reflection of government's policy to strengthen the bridges of friendship and understanding with Central Asia. Relations with Turkey were strengthened following the visit of the President of Turkey. The mantra of our government is minimum government, maximum governance. At the same time, there is rising expectation among our citizens for greater efficiency in public service delivery today. The task at hand for you indeed is demanding, but with greater integration of technology in your work, be it new IT platforms, payment gateways, or the endless possibilities of cyberspace, you will achieve the desired results. Reforming our account, budget and audit systems and constantly updating them in line with global best practices must also be high on your agenda. From accrual accounting to integrated financial management information systems, we have to keep pace with the latest. India is on a high growth track with the expansion of our economy, we are bound to see commensurating enlargement of our financial management system. This would seek greater commitment and dedications from you, especially as the government strives harder to distribute the fruits of development and make the growth inclusive. Another area where a lot is expected from you is resource mobilization. I would encourage you to study the models of innovative financing being practiced the world over. This would throw up new ideas and help us generate domestic resources to boost infrastructure, finance social projects, and build a new India that we want to by 2022. As you work through your careers, you would also be taking on policy making task. In this capacity, I would urge you to see how best you can combine growth with sustainability. We have little option today, but to do more with less, be it water, clean energy, natural resource management, or extracting wealth from waste. The world that we live in is changing at a fast pace. Renewable energy, blue economy, digital solutions, cyber security, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and internet all are going to be the drivers of this change. These have the potential to completely overhaul the way we live, govern and account for our resources. You have to prepare for these changes and adapt to them innovatively and in a time-bound manner. And finally, few words about the National Institute of Financial Management, where you are being trained. I must say it has made singular contribution to strengthening governance in the country. Its focus on human resources as the real wealth of a nation must continue to inspire and guide you. And here I would leave another thought with you. All of you would soon embark on the high journey of nation building. You must do so with humility and compassion, and to give back to the society, to the poor and needy the foremost. I wish all the best. थैंक यू। 800 वर्डों के साथ डिक्टेट किया गया है, और ये भी डिक्टेशन वाला जो सेट आपको दिया गया 2017 के नाम से दिया गया, इसमें से 4 नंबर है। टाइप करेंगे आप, ये 80 पे डिक्टेट की गई है और इससे पहले वाली 100 पे थी।